You guys, everyone. Tim Drake is queer.
Woo woo!
I am losing my mind, TJ.
I can imagine. I was losing my mind a little bit, so I'm sure you were losing your mind a bit more than I was.
How did you react when you heard?
I said, "Oh my God, call Alex Jaffe and Jadzia Axelrod."
That is pretty much exactly what you said to me. Actually, I heard about it. Obviously the info leaked early. I heard about it and I burst into tears like immediately. TJ got the Snapchats. He knows that is a fact.
Yes, and it's been a long time coming. Not just the last couple months, but before that, we had a queer reading of Tim Drake, and everyone, but specifically Tim Drake. I think there was a lot there to look at, and then of course, part 1 and part 2 came out, and we were like, "Is this happening?" And the fact, we were afraid of like, "Oh, is this queer baiting?" And while it's still a little up in the air, I think it's undeniable at this point that Tim Drake dates boys, and I think he's going to continue doing that.
I think so too. I truly feel like we and I were like so confident when we did our last episode, and we talked about this on our Pride episode. We were so confident, and on that episode, I was like, "Yeah, it's absolutely going to happen." But as soon as the episode ended, I was like, "Is it though?" And I really felt this deep doubt until this issue. And I'm just sure, like this is them saying that, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I agree, and I love the writing is nuanced and and before now I think it was completely subtext, but now we're at the point where it is getting textual, and it's different than a lot of things we've read with queer representation, because this is a little bit more slow burn, and I don't know, I'm just really appreciating it because it's different and I think it's well done.
I think so too. And I'm going to guess a lot of people do. If our Twitter timeline is any indication, it feels like a pride parade over there.
Yes. Well, all right, let's get into our discussion with Alex Jaffe and Jadzia Axelrod, and stick around to the end because we have a special thing to announce also related to Tim Drake in this issue.
Yes. And Tim Drake is queer.
Tim Drake is queer.
Welcome to the Gotham Outsiders, possibly the most special episode we will ever have, turning the Tim Drake train into the Tim Drake Pride Party Bus. I am your host, Tim Obsessive Chris, and lighting a circle of candles to manifest TimCon, my co-host, Tim Drake Acolyte, TJ.
Woo! We're halfway there, everyone.
We are. We tore down the bat signal and we put up a rainbow lights to summon our very own JLQ, author of the upcoming book with the newly revealed gorgeous cover, Galaxy the Prettiest Star, Jadzia Axelrod!
Woo! Hello. Woo-hoo. Always happy to respond to the rainbow flag being projected up into the sky.
Good. And DC Comics columnist and trivia lord, Alex Jaffe!
Hey, so we're here to talk about that Chip Zdarsky, Jason Todd story, right?
Yes, we are.
Because honestly, that's like the best Jason Todd story I've read in a very long time. And we're all here to celebrate DC Urban Legends, Batman Urban Legends #6, right?
Yes, we are. For
I mean, you
no
guys
specific
are.
reason.
Yeah.
We're talking about a different queer Robin today, Alex.
Okay.
The other bisexual in the room, Tim Drake.
Okay.
Well, let's start there.
Yes.
Do we think Tim Drake is bisexual? What's going on here?
He never. I think that we're seeing a lot of internet gun jumping, and
Yes,
I feel like that's
fair.
something that Jadzia and I can agree on. In that no labels have been placed on this, and that's kind of exciting to me about this story, actually, because this is not what we're seeing from this Tim Drake story that's unfolding in Urban Legends is someone trying to figure out their own sexual identity and not having all the answers up front, but just starting to go down that road and making an earnest effort to do so. It's not like behind any sort of coded wall. That's like clearly what's textually happening here. And that's like, when you see queer characters in like big two comic books, it all kind of spills out at once. And just to see that someone like reckon with their identity in a way that I'm sure a lot of readers have gone through themselves is a very refreshing approach to finding your own identity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, sure. But I don't think that's worth celebrating quite just yet.
Okay, so you got
too bad we've dragged you here.
I was gonna say
no.
we're celebrating either way, but you can
listen.
your reasons.
Don't let me stop your party by all means.
Won't. You're just the person in the corner of the party yelling at everyone to stop putting drinks without coasters is what's happening right now.
We need you to
that's
keep us
usually my
humble.
role.
But no, I agree. I see both sides of that. Like, it's been a while since I've seen a story that's so slow burn like this in terms of queerness, and like I think we need all types of stories, but at the same time, it's like we want the representation now, and we deserve good representation. But I'm here for this ride.
Sure, because if there's anything that a fandom abhors, it's a slow burn romance.
Right.
It's not like a full 80% of AO3.
As someone who spent like a greater part of a decade figuring out which labels fit me, this slow burn relates to my life. Like, I feel this. The way he's discovering it feels very familiar to me.
Yeah. And like, I don't think there's any turning back at this point. Like, he dates.
There better
Are
not
you sure?
be. I will
This
burn
is the problem.
DC Comics to the ground if they turn back now.
I mean, you and a lot of people. I think a lot of people are excited, but I think part of the problem I have with this is that it's very easy to walk back from this. At the very last panel of this story is Tim Drake saying, I think I might, maybe, kinda, sorta.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's a very uncharitable read.
But it's an actual read. He says, I think I might.
Right.
I'm sorry. Like, it's done deliberately to be ambiguous. And I think there's a very good reason behind that. Probably they want to see what people's reactions are going to be. Probably they want to see if they can walk back from this if they choose to. This is not Iceman coming out nearly a decade ago where it's like, hey, he's gay. Everybody, he's gay. We can't go back on this. He's gay. His mind has been read. He's gay. Right. And this is something
you heard it here
different.
first. Go buy 500 of these. Post about it all day long. Make sure they hear us.
I mean, I think it's totally fair to be hesitant and like untrustworthy of this just because of the representation we've had or not had in the past.
Yeah,
but I don't think there's
it's not that I don't trust it. It's that I think we deserve more. Like, I think this needs to be more. And like, I'm all for a slow burn, sure. But like, there could be more here. Like, they don't even touch, except for when he rescues him from when Tim rescues Bernard from being nearly ritualistically executed, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't even get a hug. We don't get a handhold. We don't get nothing. And I'm like,
well, they have to finish their date.
Yeah, they have a date they're going on.
They've only had one half of one date.
Oh, yeah, okay. But also he puts on a cape and a mask to fight people with googly eyes on their head. Like, realism is not exactly the paramount thing in a superhero comic. We can skip a little realism to have a makeout moment, or at the very least a hug.
That's true, but I feel like the skipping to the flag waving is exactly what you get in all of these kind of rudimentary basic coming out stories, which we've had and we can celebrate. But I feel like we're at the point where we can invite a little bit more nuance, that somebody's identity isn't necessarily that clear cut, and it's one that takes a lot of experimenting to find and see what labels you're comfortable with. And to rush Tim,
I'm all for celebrating
would almost be a disservice.
Yeah,
I'm all for celebrating that. I think that's great. But what I'm saying is we can't go up and say, oh, Tim's bisexual now, because
Certainly
we
not,
have no
no.
evidence of that.
No,
Well,
can't say,
it's
oh,
too
Tim's
early
gay
to wave
now.
the bi flag. Right.
Yes,
We-
yes.
We can't
For
say he's
sure.
gay now. We can't even say he's queer now. Like there's nothing in there. He might be, maybe he's working it out. Like that's a wonderful story element and I'm here for it. But it's not something that I think we can shout to the heavens yet.
I
Well,
think we've been
shouting it to the
yeah.
heavens way before it was canonical in any way.
sure.
So I think we will continue to.
I think at this point we can commit to a queer identity, even if we don't know what flavor of queer it is. It's not like he's going to go, never mind, I'm straight. This didn't work.
Right.
Oh,
I mean,
it's happened
from a-
before to other characters. Like I don't see why this is something you think Tim is immune to.
Give me some examples, Jadzia, of this scenario getting walked back.
This scenario. All right. This specific scenario where someone has gone on a date with Bernard. No, I can't. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Bernard's only dated so many people.
No, not Bernard, but the idea of like a comic book superhero.
Oh my God. Like the Legion of Superheroes is full of queer characters whose identities have been walked away from. Like once a new writer takes over, and it's always explained away with a hand wave because it's superhero comics and you can do that. Like this is not written in stone. And I think it says something that like what people are spreading around on Tumblr and on Twitter and all this is not one panel where we get a beautifully queer Tim Drake doing something like putting a pride pin on his jacket or making out with Bernard or having a hug. It's like several panels and pages because this has to be explained and you have to understand the subtext and all this stuff that's going on. And like, I don't want to get him wrong. I think it's a great story. I like the story. I love that the subtext works on multiple levels with how he talks about Bernard and Bernard's family and also the stuff with the new Gotham detective who's clearly talks about vigilantism and in the same way that people talk about queerness, which is wonderful. Yeah, like it all works in a very layered way, and I like that. But if you're telling me this is undeniable proof that Tim Drake is forever bi, I don't see it.
Yeah, and if there's one character that's acceptable to frequent retconning, it is Tim Drake. So that is.
Oh my goodness.
I was delighted to read in this comic and learn that he was adopted by Bruce Wayne because I wasn't even sure that was still canon at this point.
I do want to say, I
true.
totally see where Jadzia is coming from because as she was talking, I thought about recently over at Marvel, Kitty Pryde legit kissed a girl on panel and it has not been mentioned for a year. Like like they, it was like, oh my God, she's queer. And then it wasn't acknowledged at all. So like, I think there is the chance that this could, if it's not well received or they don't want to go that way after this arc, that they're just like, you know what, we're not going to talk about this ever again. Maybe he was just confused, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I feel really good about this.
I do too.
I got some very interesting metrics today from a friend of mine who looks at these sort of things. That this Tim Drake story breaking today is only the third time that a DC comic story got to trend on Twitter since the beginning of the year.
Wow.
The first was Future State.
Yeah.
The second was Infinite Frontier. And this is the third story to trend on Twitter.
And it was specifically Tim Drake, his name.
Yeah. Specifically Tim Drake.
Yeah.
So it's going to be difficult to ignore this.
Yeah, so make it more difficult is what we're saying.
Right.
Do not be ignorable.
We are all here making a big deal out of it because that's the way to that's the way to keep it around, to make a big deal out of it. Don't let it be the third story in an anthology after the return of Zealot from Wildstorm Comics.
Right.
Remember that Zealot story? I feel like the point of that Zealot story was, gee, a lot of women in comic books are drawn the same, huh?
That story was something.
And I feel like there's not very many people keeping the stance of, is he though? Because like, while I see Jadzia where you're coming from, totally, like everyone online is either going to be, oh my God, he's bisexual, or oh my God, I hate that he's gay. And it's like, neither of those things are true at the moment. But, I think the reaction is just like, there's I think DC can't turn back just because the reaction as of now is so solidly he is some sort of queer at least.
I mean, that's the excitement of the moment, but like, who knows? Like, I just feel we deserve more.
Who hurt you? Why are you so reticent about this? Well,
because we deserve more. We deserve clarity.
I think I agree. We do. And we do. Really, if we hadn't gotten that continued in issue 10,
that's the most exciting part of this.
I think you're right. I think we're going to get an identity. I think it's going to happen. I just don't think we're there yet. But
I think we'll get that kiss. We're gonna get that kiss.
That kiss. They are gonna kiss. They're gonna kiss.
We'll get their date.
It's gonna happen.
I hope so. And
I think he's just very confused, and like, I'm here for that. Like, I feel like I haven't read that story in a while. Not that I haven't before, but I think it's very charming, and I think we're getting to that big moment.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've heard, but I have developed magical powers because this week they found notes that Lord of the Rings has confirmed. Like, Tolkien wrote that elves can be gay in his notes. So I'm just saying, I think that all of my manifesting has kicked off in 1 week. So I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's gonna happen.
What I'm excited about is that this sort of exploratory story can even be told in this medium. That's not something I've seen before in like coming from the world of DC Comics in such like a mainstream stage. Yes, Tim hasn't confirmed himself to one particular nation state or another, but the fact that he's free to explore it is itself I think worth celebrating.
I think so too.
What the rainbow flag is for, Alex. Everybody falls under it, no matter what your identity is.
See, even that takes time to accept. Like, what queer person has not had to ask themselves the question, am I queer enough to count? And I feel like that's something that a lot of us can relate to.
Let's just start even there. Like, right, this whole arc has been about identity, right? I mean, the program he's running at the very beginning is the identity program. But this is what this story is about. Whatever it ends up coming out to, it is an exploration of a character who frequently has put his identity aside for other people to actually slow down and figure out who he is. And regardless of where that ends, the story matters to me because of that.
Right. When's the last time that Tim willingly went on a date with, say, Stephanie Brown? Really, the only time they hang out is when they fight crime together.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean, that's a date. It's superhero comics. The fight scene is basically sex.
It is. It's true. It's true. Speaking of basically sex, he also gets a phone call from Connor Kitt in this arc.
That's true. He does. He's there. Who's this Bernard guy?
The way that Connor is like, who's this Bernard? He's like, I'll help you. Tim Drake's figuring out who he is and thinking about Connor. We got to talk about Tim Con.
Like, in 5 years, it'll be retconned that they were dating back in the day.
That would be
incredible.
Well, we were hooking up that whole time. We just didn't tell anybody.
It's just panels of Connor sneaking out of the bat cave in the middle of the night.
Saying, no homo.
Yeah.
Right.
And Chris, so on Twitter, there's been a lot of talk about Tim Drake getting like a new superhero identity, and Chris came up with an idea.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes, it's terrific. It's way better than Red Robin. I give you Rainbow Robin.
Rainbow Robin.
So bad. He just comes out.
The costume is exactly the same. Exactly. But instead of the yellow underneath the cape, it's rainbow.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Different cape lining. That's all you gotta do.
The costume with the wings, and they're just like rainbow feathers.
Yeah, each one of the feathers is a different rainbow, and he's wearing pink kryptonite as a necklace.
Oh, and the mask is pink now.
He gets his equipment from Roy G. Bigelow, the Rainbow Raider, and he incorporates that into his costume.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. Oh, yes. This is what needs to happen now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, also this week we have our first live action Tim Drake on Titan season 30. And
this is a good week for Tim.
That show is so diverse, and I love it. I love that about the show. Other things, not so much. But like now I'm truly like, oh, I wonder if this is something that's going to come up in the show later on. Like, I really hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great. where do we even want to go from here? I love it. This was a Tim Drake story that is at least somewhat queer and about a cult. This was, I tell you, I'm magic.
It's totally
now.
queer.
I'm really surprised you didn't write it.
I secretly did with my mind, apparently.
Well,
you know what would be really great? I think it would be really interesting if you could like sit down with the writer and talk to her about this.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
That would be so cool. We should
Wouldn't that be an interesting episode of this podcast?
That would be such an interesting
we
episode.
are going to have to prove that Chris did not write this, so we're going to have to get them both in the same room.
Yeah.
At the same time, so you can
With
prove we're not the
Batman.
same person.
So next week, we will be talking to the writer of this story, Megan Fitzmartin, and we're going to talk about this story.
Well, I would like to reconvene this quadrumvirate at the conclusion of the next leg of this arc. What do you all think?
Yes, I think that sounds perfect.
For sure. All right. Well, where can we find both of you on social media? And do you have any projects to look out for?
Oh, absolutely. If you want a comic book published by DC with queer people who actually say they're queer and make out with each other, I have the one for you. Galaxy the Prettiest Star comes out next May. That's the current news, current word. The cover was just revealed, and it's so beautiful.
Gorgeous cover.
Jess Taylor is doing the art, and they did an amazing cover. It's such a wonderful book. I put a lot of my heart into it. I'm very proud of it. Everyone who wanted a queer trans lead in the DC Comics universe, I have you. It's being done by a queer trans creative team. You could not ask for a better book than this, and it is wonderful, and I love it. And you should go buy it. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Planet X.
I will do all of those things. I've got some stuff. I write for DCComics.com. Check the news section. All the articles under the tag Alex Jaffe are written by me because that's my name. I have a monthly column called Ask the Question where you can write in and ask me all of your weird questions about DC Comics continuity and history, and I will answer them. And I might be serving a similar function on this very show in the future. Stay tuned for that. I also run this thing in the DC community, which at least in the US, you can access the community boards on DCComics.com. I run this thing called Trivia Tuesday, where every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I run a uniquely bespoke trivia competition for everybody who shows up about some particular niche of DC or another, and I'd love to see more people show up. This week, we're doing Batman 89 to celebrate the release of Batman 89 #1. Next week, we're doing the Lego DC stuff because that's been a popular topic with our regulars. And one of the consolation prizes, if you don't win, is you get the chance to pick a future topic. So it's always an exciting time to be had. So come on down to that community and look for Trivia Tuesday.
Excellent. And we will have you both on in a few months when Tim Drake goes to a gay bar with John Constantine.
Oh, sure.
Or if another Robin comes out.
Yeah. If any Robins want to come out while we're here, go for it.
Sure.
Chain reaction. All right. Thank you both so much for coming on so short notice.
Oh, happy to do it.
JLQ disassemble.